Hi guys, and I want to share some musings I've been having after our conversation with Jackie. And one of the things that came up was about when you've had some sort of traumatic trigger and it's from something that's happened so long ago, or you've like already done so much to like deal with it. And that feeling of like failure, of like, oh, why am I still being bothered by this thing? And like having such an emotional reaction about it. And we talked about how, certainly in my experience, it's been leaning into this like compassionate observation of myself and how I'm reacting to something. And I wanted to share with you, there's a book by Gabor Mate, and it's called When the Body Says No, The Hidden Cost of Stress, The Cost of Hidden Stress. And I'm going to do a whole video on it because there's so much to share. I'm really excited to share it with you because it's been quite transformative for me. But there's one thing that I want to share here in relation to this like old trauma trigger and that compassionate observation. Because Gabor comes up with 7 A's of healing, is what he calls. And one of them is this A is acceptance. Essentially, he describes as being that you can not necessarily like the way you're reacting to something, but you at the very beginning can just say like, oh, I am having this reaction to something. I'm feeling this emotion, hence the reaction. And it might lead you to start to think about like, how would I rather be acting? But it's not about like fix it, like come up with a solution and like advisory like approach to it. It's just allowing it and just being like, okay, I am scared of this thing, and therefore I am doing this response, and just leaving it at that. When I was reading his book, it was making me think about like what I would go through with a client in therapy, coaching conversations, because you're in essence getting someone to like hold this really lovely space for you where you'll be able to just talk through these are all the thoughts, feelings, sensations I had, the sort of wider systems that you're connected to, and just being able to ask yourself like, how am I feeling? How is that feeling manifesting in terms of like the behaviors I'm doing? And not immediately trying to fix it, but just sort of sitting with it and letting that like new insight really embed itself into your being. Experience this in real time when you're not necessarily got a session booked with your therapist or your coach or have that available, is you can give yourself like the equivalent of like a little micro facial of like a micro coaching therapy chat. When you've got an experience and you're like, oh, I'm having a reaction that I wish I wasn't having. So I thought I'd give you like a little example of something, not like a traumatic trigger, but just like a little taster. Um, um, and the sort of questions that I would ask myself to like coach myself through that motion. So the one that I wanted to share is there was recently this book club that I really wanted to go to, and I'd booked on to go with a friend, and then last minute, bless her, she wasn't able to go. And so I was like, oh, I really want to go still, so I'm still going to go. And then as I got closer to it, I was like, oh, I really don't want to go. And I was like, what is this feeling? So I was like, I asked myself, like, what am I feeling? And I was like, okay, I feel embarrassed. And it's like, I don't want to feel embarrassed about going there and not connecting with anyone, feeling a little bit of like on the edge, on the outside. And so at that moment, I'm like, okay, so the feeling is embarrassment and like an aversion to embarrassment. And then it's like, so what is it? It's the embarrassment of being socially rejected. And then I would ask myself, like, who is it that's sharing that feeling? And I can link it back to it was Team Carmen from experiences like I remember there was this tennis club that I went to, and I was just like, I had none of the gear and no idea. And it was just super awkward. I wasn't able to do anything right. I didn't really click with the other kids. And it was just like really uncomfortable social rejection experience. Then I would ask myself, what is it that this individual, so in this case, Team Carmen, like what do they want from this? Team Carmen, in response to the embarrassment, is wanting to control. I want to control it. I don't want to put myself into an environment where I can risk that experience happening again because it was disgusting. And then I'd ask myself, like, along the lines of like, if a friend was sharing this with me, like, what would I say to them? And I would say to them, like, what matters is accepting yourself, what experience you're having, doing what you want, connecting with your interests. Don't worry about if you're performing to other people's likes and dislikes. And then I would say, without telling them what to do, like, don't go into solution mode, just like, what would you understand about them? So about Teen Carmen. And then I can think, oh, I'd say that they are scared of being rejected because they felt such an icky, like, embarrassed feeling in the past, and that really hurt. So they're trying to protect themselves from experiencing that again. And then reflect that back to yourself. So as I was getting closer to the book club start time, I was like, oh, I really don't want to go. I don't want to get embarrassed. And like, who is it that doesn't want to get embarrassed? It's Teen Carmen, because Teen Carmen went through that experience at the tennis club, being on the outside, just feeling really like socially rejected, and that really hurt. And I can now see that and be like, okay, so current Carmen is trying to control the environment to avoid that feeling of hurt and social rejection. And that would have been like enough on its own. That's that like acceptance of, rather than just being like, why am I reacting this way? Not who I am. It's not who I want to be. It's just being like, okay, so this is what the situation is. Not giving myself any judgment. And actually, in that instance, the process of doing that sort of self-mini microfacial coaching to myself meant that I then went and I had a lovely time, got a copy of a book with the ticket, read the book, great book, met some nice like-minded gals, gorgeous evening. But what was like more important was that I gave myself that compassionate space, not judging myself, and just allowing, so the accepting, as Gabor would say. So yeah, watch this space, because I'm going to share a load from Gabor's book, because it's been pretty, well, it's literally life-saving. And actually the experience of like clocking how I give myself these little micro coaching sessions, I think I'll try and record them like in the live next time and share them with you, because I think there'll be little bits from that will just really help in terms of the questions you can ask yourself to replicate what you'd have in like a full, proper, juicy coaching therapy session. So